This learning outcomes inverted pyramid starts at the institutional level with Hodges University's General Education Core Outcomes. These were adapted from Career One Stop's Competency Model Clearinghouse. Beneath the pyramid, you can see a link to the Clearinghouse model. This illustration is a generic model showing several tiers that represent different types of competencies required of various occupations. Tiers 2 and 3 are competencies common to most occupations and were the source of the Hodges General Education Core. The competencies of reading, writing, mathematics, basic computer skills, and problem solving were adapted for our General Education Core. You can click on any of the competencies and see the detail of the components of that competency. So if I mouse over reading, I can see a definition of the reading outcome. If I click on reading, I see its components are comprehension, attention to detail, information analysis, and information integration. The statements underneath each of the competencies can become course outcomes, ensuring that the competencies are embedded in the curriculum. For example, the last bullet point under information analysis can be stated as a course learning outcome by adding students will in front of the statement. So your course outcome would be students will synthesize information from multiple written materials. Adapting these competencies required selective judgment because there are a large number of statements for each component. It required consideration of what can realistically be accomplished within the framework of the liberal studies components of our degree programs. So if I go back to the generic model, we can see that there are several links to industry-specific models on the left-hand side. An example of using one of these models to develop program outcomes will be provided in the next section. Program learning outcomes are the next layer in the inverted pyramid. All Hodges degree programs are currently redefining their program learning outcomes in a deliberate process to tie them to career competencies or to program-specific accreditation standards. I will provide examples of approaches that can be used to develop these outcomes. When you further break down program outcomes into specific components, you have course-level learning outcomes. Course outcomes are statements of observable behaviors that demonstrate achievements of those components of the program outcomes. Typically, assessments are tied to course outcomes so that students are asked to show learning or produce work that is evidence of achievement of the course outcomes. The most granular types of learning outcomes are at the unit level. A unit may be a classroom session or a module in an online course. The activities that help students build learning to the point where they achieve course outcomes are expressed within unit outcomes. Although they may be, it's not necessary that every unit outcome is tied to an assessment. In the next section, I will discuss program learning outcomes